Welcome to the Running Back Podcast, where we run back everything from the 80s and 90s. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah.
And today we're running back The Running Man from 1987.
Not to be confused with Running Man, which is a South Korean variety show that has had 515 episodes and is the only thing that comes up when you Google this goddamn movie.
I don't think you Googled it right.
I did Google it right, but when you're looking for, fun facts and characters and this and that, that just kept popping up. So, I would like to just start by mentioning that this crazy-ass 1987 sci-fi dystopian movie features not one, but two future United States governors.
Yes. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse the Body Ventura.
Governor the Body, you know.
Well, the movie is about a future, or past, 2017 situation where the economy has collapsed and things kind of got out of hand, and the United States is kind of now everything state-run. So the TV, food supply, everything is controlled by them to, I guess, ration it. And it opens up, you're in a helicopter, Arnold Schwarzenegger's flying the helicopter. There is a food riot going on in Bakersfield, California. He says there's approximately 1,500 people.
No, I'm just going to go ahead and stop you right here. In the best 1987 technology available, he zooms in on the crowd and it shows him a bunch of pixels that are different colored. And he tells you how many people there are, how many women, how many men, that there's children.
He just says there are children. He just knows there's that many blips.
He tells you it's a food riot. He tells you so much from these little squares.
I think they're implying that he had more than just the squares to go on.
No, they showed you his instrument panel.
Anyway.
Okay, go ahead. Apparently he kept some, Terminator technology with him.
He mentions that, there's no signs anybody's armed. They're all unarmed, whatever. They tell him...
Yeah, which is also amazing that he knew.
So, they tell him to go ahead and fire on the crowd. And he's like, no,
They're unarmed.
I said they're unarmed. There's no threat here. And they basically have him detained, and they do it anyway. But later in the movie, you find out not only did he was detained and arrested in prison for not following orders, but they faked the whole story about how he's the one that fired on the crowd, even though it wasn't. Yeah,
that they told him not to, and he was like, no, screw you, and opened fire, and now they call him the Bakersfield Butcher.
They edited all the audio to make it look like he...
Oh my god, did the Running Man predict deep fakes?
Yes, it did. I feel like it predicted a lot of things. Did the Running Man come out before American Gladiator, or was American Gladiator
We're gonna have a chit-chat about that. You want to just fucking go ahead and chit-chat now?
Spoiler alert, if anybody doesn't know about this movie. There's a game show that uses prisoners where they compete in kind of like a futuristic dystopian American Gladiator setup anyway, but the stakes are much higher. You get killed in this 400 square block arena. They say if you survive, you win, you get off scot-free, you're out, your debt to society's paid.
So, The Running Man was the main inspiration for American Gladiators.
Wow. You can tell.
Stephen D'Souza, who wrote the screenplay for this, claims that when the creators of American Gladiators pitched their idea to producers, they used this film's footage and said, we're doing this exactly like this, except for the killing part. But, when they have these people called the Stalkers, who hunt the people in the game.
Gladiators.
And they come out to this fanfare, and they all have their moves and their gimmick, and I was like, this is fucking American Gladiators.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was American Gladiators. They all had crazy names, like Buzzsaw and Dynamo, and I was like, this...
Fireball.
Yeah, I was like, American Gladiators totally had to bite this whole thing.
Captain
Freedom, yeah. I'm glad you saw that, too.
So... our boy Ben Richards is imprisoned. It's 18 months later, and they're at a work camp
where he's just moving steel beams by himself.
Somewhere outside of Los Angeles. They have guards around him. There is a sonic fence which will detonate a prisoner collar that's around their neck and will explode.
Blows their head right the fuck up.
by Chico, who gets a little overzealous and thinks it's time to go. But they have basically an escape plan. One of them stands behind one of the computer terminals that the guy enters the code so the prison guards can cross the line with the prisoners, I guess, to take them to a different part of the camp. He gets the code, he gives everybody the go-ahead, and they have this whole riot planned out to distract people. They kill like 87 prison guards, and a bunch of prisoners die. But they get away.
Right.
Ben Richards and his two main friends,
Laughlin and Weiss,
get out.
Just, since I got this dude's name wrong anyway, I'd like to go ahead and say that I had the damnedest time understanding anything anybody was saying in this movie. And I gave up on what people's names were and just started descriptively writing them in my notes. So do not look for me to get anybody's name correct from here on out.
So they're outside of the prison. They've all changed clothes. Still got they went to Mick to have their collars.
Well, damn, did we even get that they deactivated this and escaped?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mick removes Laughlin's collar. They have like a little firebox or whatever to toss it into to let it explode. But he recognizes Ben Richards, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, as the Butcher of Bakersfield. And he doesn't want to take his collar off. But you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Because you don't know any of that he's been framed yet.
Even he doesn't seem to know.
No, he doesn't know until later on. But he ends up taking his collar off. He says he's going to go get out of Los Angeles. He's going to go with his brother. They're going to get away.
Right.
So he goes to where his brother lives.
Well, before that, they're kind of in this little shanty town. And there's like a TV that's been erected, I guess, for all of the shantytown people to watch this TV show. But you can hear like the news in the background talking about how, well, first there's a promo for The Running Man talking about how it's the #1 TV show, but there's also a lady in the background talking about there's a bonus this week for turning in any family members.
Yeah. And immediately I was like, oh, his brother turns him in.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. So he goes there, he cleans up, he's doing his thing.
His friends try to get him not to leave. They're trying to fight with the resistance. They're going to try to find like this TV uplink and show the people that the news being brought to you is fake news.
But they, in 1987, they have the little keypad on the door, which was kind of cool for an apartment, but apparently, old boy never changed. Well, you soon learn that another woman is now living in that apartment and apparently never changed the code.
Right.
She comes home. She's
445566.
So he scares the shit out of her, and he's like trying to get her to be quiet because he doesn't want to go back. She doesn't believe him that he's not the Butcher of Bakersfield because she was just exercising and watching the news about the whole thing.
Right, because they said that there is now a door-to-door search for him.
So he's like, we're going to Hawaii. You're going to get me there. We're getting out of here.
Right. She tells him that his brother was taken away for re-education, which I found kind of crazy that it's then never mentioned again. He doesn't go in search of the brother.
I think you can safely assume that he was taken away under those guidelines, but he is very much dead.
You think?
You learn later that the people who win the game, who get out, they are also. Spoiler alert.
So while all of this is happening and he's decided that they're going to escape to Hawaii, you meet the host of the game show,
Damon Killian.
And he wants Richards to be on his game show because it will up his ratings. So he calls the Department of Justice Entertainment Division to persuade them to give him Richards when they find him.
Nailed it.
We do have a president who every day gets on Twitter and tells us the ratings of different shows for whatever reason. So anyway, they decide they're going to Hawaii. And he dresses up in his best Hawaiian shirt. And he puts a nice hot pink dress on her. And they look like a happy couple. And they're going through their version of TSA. And they scan his travel pass, which is actually hers. And they ask for hers. And he acts like she's just some dumb bitch who misplaces everything. And starts pulling stuff out of her purse until the people behind him get aggravated. And TSA just lets him go.
But on the way down to, I guess, the gates or whatever, she just drills him right in the nuts and takes off running. She escapes.
Starts yelling, yeah. Well, before that, she tells him that she gets sick in the car. She gets sick on an airplane. She was like, and I am going to throw up on you. And he was like, do it. You cannot hurt this shirt because it is a god-awful Hawaiian print shirt.
He takes off running, tries to escape, but they catch up to him in a vehicle and net gun him.
They net gun him.
Which was, do you think Rob got that idea?
I know that ever since Robin Big on MTV, you have wanted your own personal net gun. Yes. They ran around for 3 episodes doing nothing but net gunning people.
And it was glorious.
It was fun.
And if I could find a net gun, I would totally.
So he was arrested. They put him in like this glass room, and Killian is on the other side of the glass, trying to convince him to volunteer to be on the show. Now, they say they don't get military prisoners. Is that why he has to volunteer?
I think so.
So he wants him to volunteer to be on the show, and to persuade him, it shows that they have also kidnapped his 2 friends, or arrested his 2 friends that he escaped with, and he was like, it's either you or we're going to put them in the game show, and you know they're not going to survive. So he does it basically to protect his friends.
Yeah.
Even though that doesn't technically work out. Now, they do some weird medical shit on him. There was like a barium IV and shit.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of shit. And then...
But they were like, they stabbed something in his leg. It was like, let's see him run after this, and did all kinds of shit. But then none of that was ever revisited again either. Like, if it was supposed to slow him down or give them a competitive edge or whatever, it was never brought back up.
Oh, there was no competitive edge. Like, they are bare-fisted against people with chainsaws.
But I mean, I thought it was going to be like an extra boost, kind of like in Gladiator when the king or prince or whatever he is has Russell Crowe stabbed in the ribs.
Yeah.
So he's slowly bleeding out anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be one of those situations, but then nothing they did is ever brought back up.
I think they might have been a deleted scene.
I don't know.
So then they decide to gas him out until the show.
Right.
Which they already have him like in the room, and they're already.
I guess it keeps him
stabbing him with shit. Why don't they just stab him with a sedative?
Yeah, I don't know. So meanwhile, Amber, who was the girl he tried to kidnap, sees on the news that he was arrested. She was unharmed. He was like, but these 2 people at the airport, like the ticket agent and the TSA person, weren't as lucky because he shot and killed them. And it's showing them like bloody and like wrapped up and people attending to him. And she's like, that's not true. Like, that didn't happen.
It clicks to her like they're basically fucking this guy's whole entire life.
Yeah.
Over some bullshit.
So back to him, instead of a lawyer, he gets a court-appointed theatrical agent who, while they're walking down, I guess, to the game show, is reading him his contract that he makes him sign. He lets him use his back to sign it.
And then he stabs that pen right into his back.
He signs it and stabs the pen into his back so the papers... And nobody helped him. Nobody helped him get the pen or papers off his back.
Nobody cared about that guy. He had a terrible job.
It was weird. Amber, I don't know how she got there or what pretenses she's there, is in the lobby.
She works there.
She works there? I was thinking maybe it was like an interview situation or something. I couldn't figure it out.
She had an ICS badge, so she worked somewhere in the building.
She is talking to another girl. They are buying a $6 can of Coke out of a machine.
Nailed it.
When Richards walks by, and she's telling her, like, the lady's telling Amber how lucky she is to be alive, and he killed all those people. I don't know how you survived. He could have murdered you, or raped you, or murdered and then raped you, or raped you and then murdered you, or murdered you and then raped you, and who could stop him? Like, it was very weird.
And she just kind of goes along with it because anybody who goes against the state gets punished for it.
Right.
So when the show starts, they show edited video and audio of their version of what happened to the massacre, and it just looks just bad for Ben Richards.
In the edited video, they tell him not to fire, that they're peaceful people, and he was like, screw you, I'm doing it, and kills everybody.
Yeah.
But it's not what happened at all. Also, there's like pre-show warm-up dancers dancing all over the place. It was very weird. I guess they were like the hype men, but they're also in the show. And their dance routines were choreographed by Paula Abdul.
Was she also promised a part in this movie?
She was not also promised a part in this movie.
So, but the showgirls were all over the contestant. Like, as he's coming out, like,
yeah,
one walks by and, like, strokes him a little bit, and then one gets all up in his face.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Price is Right models who model the furniture. but it's a prisoner. But one of them then grabs a hold of the suit he's wearing and just jerks it off to reveal his spandex bodysuit underneath.
His gladiator suit.
So the host is explaining the fabulous prizes that Richards could win, such as a trial by jury or a pardon.
Which you soon learn is never going to happen.
I just love that the fabulous prize could be a trial by jury. Which, what is that going to do? Like, you've altered him doing this horrible thing on video. Like, no jury. Also, we have it on mute in the background. We're at the scene where he is in Amber's apartment. And she was working out prior to this, just in lingerie. Like, she has on like a nightie or a teddy or whatever. Just working out, doing some crunches, watching an exercise tape. Who exercises in that?
No idea.
It's total bullshit.
We gotta think this is before workout clothes were big.
No. In the 80s? 1987?
Okay. Before workout clothes were good.
80s? No. 80s was peak workout clothes.
No,
you had the leg warmers.
They weren't any good.
Everybody had their own exercise tape. I remember being little and renting the Barbie exercise tape from fucking Blockbuster.
The Barbie exercise tape?
Yeah, with her little fucking leg warmers and her like lycra pants. Anyway, my point is nobody exercises in a little black lace teddy.
I like that he strapped her to the Bowflex.
Yeah, he definitely tied her to the Bowflex. Jeez. Also, her Bowflex for some reason is anchored to the ground because to intimidate her, he rips it out of the floor with one hand. Like it's bolted to the floor.
Yep. So back to the show.
Yeah, sorry.
Killian has Richard's friends anyway. He's sending them in because he doesn't want to break up a winning team since they all escaped prison together.
Right.
So he's a piece of shit for going back on his word because the whole point of Richard's going in was so the friends didn't have to.
Oh, he's a total piece of shit.
If he didn't do it, the friends were going to have to do it, and he's like, they're not going to make it.
Right. So he explains the rules of the game. The runners have 3 hours to go through 4 quadrants. But there's also stalkers, or the American Gladiators, who will be going after them. They put him and his friends, they strap him to this chair, and then they lower this, like, roll cage on top of him, and they shoot him down a damn tube.
Well, before he does that, as Killian's doing his thing, and he's talking to Richards tells him, he's like, I'll be back. And Killian's like, only in a rerun. And they send him down on the coolest fucking ride into Doom that you can get. I would ride that.
I'm sure you would. The luge is your favorite. No, it's not.
Nope.
I was going to say, is your favorite winter Olympic sport, but it is not.
It is curling.
Because that is curling.
Yes.
So Amber, meanwhile, has snuck off in the studio and has gotten into an office and stolen the raw footage from what really happened that night in Bakersfield. But she gets caught. Like, as soon as she gets it, there's a hand on her shoulder.
Yeah. So they get shot into this 400 square blocks that was left over after an earthquake, and they just never
did anything, yeah.
So I guess they got it fenced off, and now it is an arena. And then, as they get down in there's people, there's like a brake pads, and people to help them get out and like lead them into the first quadrant. And then they start calling people from the crowd, like, The Price is Right. And they're like, hey.
It's more like Deal or No Deal.
Oh, well, not really. You just get to pick. Whoever they call in gets to pick the gladiator.
Right.
And if the gladiator
The stalker.
Let's just call him gladiator. The stalker, if they get a kill or whatever, that person wins a prize.
Well, I think they just get prizes anyway.
They get prizes anyway, but if they get a kill, they get more prizes.
Yeah.
So, like, So Sub-Zero comes out, and he is a very large hockey guy.
You need to put some respect on his name, because that is Professor Sub-Zero you're talking to, who is a large Asian ice skater dude. Hockey.
No, hockey. He's a goalie, but he's got the goalie stick that is sharpened
metal.
It's blunt on the bottom side, but the hook is sharpened, like he can use it like a sickle.
Yeah.
So he's first in, and they get trapped on an ice rink with some obstacles in just shoes, and he's skating around trying to kill him.
Now, he easily traps
Weiss
in like a net that then closes around him. He just like keeps him safe for like later, I guess. And then he goes after Richards. So Richards is able to grab the razor wire from the top of this cage, stretch it out, and then wrap it around his neck and kill him.
Yes, it was awesome.
And then, as you find is a thing in the movie, every time he kills somebody, he has a awful pun joke, one-liner. So he comes back on the TV, he looks in the camera, and he says, Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero.
Well, and later on, he's a pain in the neck.
He was a real pain in the neck.
So this Sub-Zero dies, and this is not a thing that happens.
Yeah, it seemed like a real first.
It looked like it at first, because the Department of Justice calls. He tries to explain it away, like, you can't have it both ways. You know, this is how it is. But, you know, the crowd's stunned, the audience is stunned. You got people outside that were betting on everything. They're stunned. Everybody's shocked.
The host is giving a speech like, this is a dark day in history, but we'll remember them as true warriors who, like, protected America, blah, blah, blah.
So after Amber gets caught, she gets thrown into the game.
Well, first, we pick 2 new stalkers before Amber gets tossed into the game. It's the guy this time, right? Like, a guy's trying to pick and he can't decide. So they let him do both. Buzzsaw and Dynamo.
Yeah, Buzzsaw rides a dirt bike and has 2 chainsaws. And Dynamo just has an electricity gun.
Yeah, Dynamo has like a light up shark fin on top of his head.
Well, it's more like a mohawk. Like
okay.
A punk rock mohawk.
Okay. And he has LEDs all over his suit. And he shoots electricity out of his hands somehow.
Yeah. He's like if you got Raiden from Wish.
Yes. He is also a large fella.
And he's also a bit of a pussy.
And then Dynamo also has a Mad Max car.
Yeah. Car is a strong word, because this thing was like a go-kart that he didn't really quite fit into.
Yeah, or know how to drive.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. So then, go ahead, Amber gets thrown into the game.
Amber gets thrown into the game, and she kind of sneaks up on the group by accident.
Well, they made up shit about her to the audience. They said that her horrible deeds were that she lives alone without a man. She has relationships with 2 or sometimes 3 different men a year. And her last relationship was with Richards, and they're a couple.
So they lie about her, kick her into the game. But the group kind of gets split up. Her and Weiss go one way, Richards and Laughlin go another way, but Weiss has seen the satellite relay, and he noticed that they're pointing in a certain direction, and he was like, if we can find, you know, the main one and the main terminal, they can find the uplink code, and they can bring down the network like they wanted to.
Now here is the most realistic part of this movie. When they put Amber into the game, her hair is down. And
I noticed that too.
I was like, y'all are fucking savages. You're not even gonna give this bitch a hair tie. She has to go survive in this game show with her hair down. Like, what a bunch of assholes. So when she lands and meets up with the group, the first thing she does is she takes her hair and starts twisting it and, like, making a bun and tucking it in.
Shit too.
Like, she doesn't have anything to hold it up there with. She, like, tucked her hair into her hair to hold it up in, like, a loose, messy bun. Yeah. Because the last thing you want to do, ladies, when you're running around a dystopian future is have your fucking hair down.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because I was like, that is exactly what happened.
Yes,
like,
that
this
is
bitch like, you got me in here, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. See, now I stay ready with that hair tie all the time. I'm ready to go. Throw me in, I can put my hair up.
You ain't gotta get ready if you stay ready.
That's right. You don't gotta get ready if you stay ready. Keep your hair up, ladies.
So they are going to look for these uplinks, and Ben Richards is like, we don't have time for this. Y'all are going to get us killed, blah, blah, blah. And finally, he's like, fuck it. And he goes back with them. They end up splitting up. I don't know the exact reason, but Weiss and Amber
they split up
find
because they
terminal.
were being attacked by Buzzsaw.
And then, well, yeah, Buzzsaw and Dynamo come rolling through that road they were on. So Amber and Weiss actually go find the terminal. Ben Richards and Laughlin end up in a small dirt bike,
like arena
type deal with Buzzsaw. Buzzsaw kind of gets a glance in on Laughlin.
Well, it turns out to be more than a glance because he dies from it.
Yeah, well, that's later on. Laughlin kind of pushed Ben Richards out of the way to save him, and then after he gets nicked, he pushes Laughlin out of the way, and he takes on Buzzsaw, but Buzzsaw...
He lassos him.
Yeah, he lassos him, ties him up, and drags him behind the dirt bike.
Now, they showed this scene of him dragging him around
for
way too long. Like, way longer than they needed to.
But on one of the turns around, Ben sweeps a little wide. There's a concrete, like, rubble there, but it has rebar in it. And he's got a little bit of slack in the line he's tied to. And he wraps it around there real quick as Buzzsaw takes off, and he yanks, that... It's like a steel cable tied to his bike. Stops the bike dead in his tracks and sends Buzzsaw flying.
Right. They then compete in hand-to-chainsaw combat.
Well, he fucked up. He leans over what he thinks is either Buzzsaw's knocked out or dead, but you don't lean over the body. You make sure you can get to the chainsaw from a distance or kick it away, or you just start kicking him in the head. Like, I don't advocate kicking people in the head, but in a life or death situation, when you are in a rigged combat system against you, do what you got to do.
Right.
But Ben gets the best of him. They do this whole chainsaw back and forth, strength check deal, and Buzzsaw said he's going to make this chansaw's a part of me. I'm going to make it a part of you, and Arnold says no, you can keep it, and gets it up under his nuts and just.
Yeah.
But what was funny is Buzzsaw was like grunting, and he's like, so he got an octave higher when his nuts left.
Yes, he did.
So then it shows Weiss and Amber are at the terminal, and they get the uplink.
Right.
Weiss is telling Amber, he was like, I'm going to say numbers, just remember them, repeat them.
She just wants out of there.
So he's slowly getting the numbers, and she's repeating them, and as they get the last one, Dynamo catches up to him. He shoots his little electric gun, and he direct hits Weiss.
Right.
But he, glancing blow to Amber, and she kind of falls down and goes away. But Weiss is still, caught in the...
power field. I don't know. He's the worst.
It's almost like he's been tased, and it's still on, but the way Dynamo's... The way they did the special effect, it's just the one, blast of electricity, which isn't fucking possible, I don't think. But anyway, it should have stunned him a little bit, but I don't think he should have, writhed around on the floor that long.
Well, he was holding on to the electronics, too. Do you think that... I thought that made it worse.
Maybe that could. But he did fall, and he just lay there for a while.
Right. Well, he was also the weakest. He was the weakest of the links.
But there's a possibility that doesn't kill him.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think it would kill him. We know people personally who've been struck by lightning or had electricity go through them way harder than Dynamo here did, and they're walking around just fine today.
Yeah. Amber gets caught by Dynamo, and I don't know if he's going to kill her or he's going to rape her at this point, because it's looking very questionable.
At this point, he's just going to kill her. He's going to rape her in a little while. So Richards goes to her, he can hear her yelling for help. And he kind of, I guess, just yells at her, and Dynamo leaves her alone and goes to get him.
Yeah. But Dynamo gets in his little go-kart thing to go get Richards.
Right.
Well, Richards is like, fuck that go-kart, I'm going to climb up this rubble. And for whatever reason,
he just floored it up the mountain.
Floors it up the mountain and tips over and rolls down and gets caught.
Because he's what? What do you want to say? 350 pounds in a car that made for a 100-pound person?
Easy, because he was a tall dude, too. So, he's easy that much.
Yeah.
So, he's a little stunned, but he realizes his suit doesn't have power. And he's trying to get them to cut to commercial so they can take care of the situation without everybody seeing it. But Richard shows up with a pipe.
He keeps screaming, no power, go to commercial, no power, no power. I was like, what a fucking pussy.
So, at this point, I think somebody in the crowd yells, kill him.
He did.
And
Richards
takes the pipe, and you hear it, he shoves it in, but he actually just pins Dynamo down. He's like, I'm not going to kill a helpless man.
Even a sadistic scum like you.
Yeah. So, but that really fucked everybody up.
Right.
They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But everybody's kind of disheartened that Dynamo's down, but they're kind of coming around this doesn't add up to what they say this guy is.
Right. Amber asks where where's Buzzsaw? And Richards says, Buzzsaw had to split. So they go around and check on Weiss. And what's the other one's name?
Laughlin.
Weiss and Laughlin?
Yeah, Weiss dead, right?
They're both dead.
Well, Laughlin's not dead yet. He is actively dying, bleeding out.
He's actively dying.
Where he got nicked was kind of along the collarbone, and I'm guessing a little bit closer to the neck. So I guess they're assuming he got hit in the jugular. He's bled
right.
out.
But Amber tells him that she knows the code, and he makes Richard's promise to take her to the underground to find them, to give them the uplink code, not to let their deaths be for nothing.
Yeah, he basically charges Ben Richards with the responsibility for the resistance.
So at this point, he has killed 3 stalkers. So he's killed 2 stalkers and
slightly disabled
one. So the TV show is on commercial, I'm assuming. The host pipes himself into him so just they can hear him and says he wants to offer him a 3-year contract to be a stalker. You can stop this right now.
He just sees ratings and a way to mitigate the damage right now.
But I don't think that if he had went through with it, they would have never honored that, right? They absolutely would have just killed him.
Could go either. I think it could have went either way. Like, yes, he's a sleazebag and probably would have killed him, but at the same time, they don't have guys like him. Like, maybe old Captain Freedom back in the day.
Yeah, everybody has a gimmick and shit.
Like, Captain Freedom's retired, and you will eventually learn later he doesn't like this gimmicky shit. Like, he likes
hand-to-hand combat.
He wants an honorable death.
Right. But he tells him
to go fuck himself.
He tells him, you can eat your contract, but leave room for my fist. I'm going to ram it down your throat and break your goddamn spine.
Yes, at that part of the movie,
I was like, oh,
yeah.
Well, you feeling some type of way.
And then I was like, maybe, because I was trying, the whole time, I was trying to figure out where this got an R rating.
Right.
Maybe that line, the woman busts out a motherfucker.
There's some cussing. There's a whole lot of death on screen. Like we learned last week with Mortal Kombat that you can't show a human's death on screen.
And still get a PG-13.
Right.
But you can kill other shit.
Right. You can kill supernatural shit. But so at this point, after he turns down the contract, the TV host gets a call from the Attorney General.
Yeah.
So they have stopped letting the audience pick the stalkers.
Well, I think they're out.
And they're just calling them up.
They sent Fireball in. I think Fireball's probably one of their better guys.
Is it the gray hair?
No, it's because it was fucking Jim Brown.
Okay. So Fireball has a flamethrower and a jetpack.
Before we get to that, Fireball's in the locker room, they're saying, and he's still got like his dress shirt on, suit, and they call him to wardrobe or whatever. But Captain Freedom looks like he wants some. He starts popping something, taking a drink, and he's like side-eyeing the door real hard, like, I can kill this person. Right. I know I can. Then comes probably my favorite part. So they pick another contestant, and it's this little old lady, white hair and all, and they're like, okay, Fireball's going in. Who, this is your chance to win some prizes, maybe some money. Who are you going to pick to get the next kill?
Because there's still Dynamo in there as well.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, okay, you gotta go Fireball because Dynamo, you don't know where he's at right now. So she goes, Ben Richards. And he's like, whoa, you gotta pick a stalker. You can't pick, a prisoner. You gotta pick a stalker. And she's like, I get to pick who I want. And I'm picking Ben Richards because he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was like, get it!
All of these people are little old ladies at this show.
Yeah. And that's when everything kind of changed. And then they show the people betting outside.
Yeah. They're
like, oh, we can do that? Like,
yeah. So Amber, it's just Amber and Richards left. Amber's like, we should have just went to Hawaii. And he was like, I had the shirt all picked out, but you fucked it up.
So, human fireball shot comes down from the sky, and Amber's like, Jesus Christ. And Ben Richards like, nope, guess again.
Can we just say that all of these stalkers' outfits looks like somebody went to a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby owns a hot glue gun and threw them together, all of them together, in about 20 minutes.
I think it would have taken longer, but yeah, it was definitely like when you see like these people who have like cosplay suits, and if you saw like when they show like things they made in the past when they first started, you got like the cardboard version, and then like the foam, and then like the sculpted out like fucking Iron Man mask that fucking like shuts in on itself. Like it's definitely a progression. They're somewhere towards the beginning.
Yeah, like I could make a Halloween costume better than that in a rainy afternoon.
Oh, them's big words.
Oh.
Can you make me a Dynamo fucking suit? Because I could be that
Bet
guy.
your goddamn ass I can make you a Dynamo suit.
Add that to the list of ideas.
I will get on that right now.
What are you going to be speaking of?
Well, Halloween's going to be canceled. Because I did have big plans to be Carol Baskins. And
Carol Baskins.
And I was going to dress the dogs up like lions and have them in the yard.
Say we still do. I say we still do that because it's close enough. That happened this year, so I say you'd be that.
But Trick or Treat's going to be canceled. Like I just wanted to do it
we could do it the whole week.
But I just wanted to
sit out in the yard, walking around with our little tiny lions.
We'll have more progressively more and more fights, and then I'll just throw like a bloody leg out there.
Yes.
That the dog could be chewing on dressed as a lion.
Yes. Oh, okay, so we make a cemetery every year, and I usually take the leaves and pile it up around it, but there's a bunch of little tombstones, but there's always that big one in the middle. We could just write her husband's name on that. So, Fireball chases them. They end up going into, I don't know, like a warehouse, and
he tells Amber to run.
He tells her to run, and he starts throwing barrels, and immediately I'm like, he's going to try to catch him on fire. But he's throwing the barrels, and these barrels look empty, and nothing's happening. But he kicks one over, and you see all the fluid come out. I'm like, oh, there's the gasoline.
It like minorly explodes.
Well, it catches the floor on fire, but Fireball's suit is, I'm guessing, fireproof,
resistant,
fire resistant, and he just walks through.
Right.
So when
it fucked him up, it fucked old Ben Richards up. Like his eyes got big, and he's like, Amber.
So he's trying to yell for her quietly. She's trying to yell for him quietly. Where she took off running, they got split up. She ends up in this locker room, and she finds a dead body. She screams and kind of gives away her location, but then she starts looking around, and it's the bodies of the three winners because they have their name tags.
Right. And they had been showing the past winners living happily ever after in some like remote island with all these girls still
wearing their gladiator suits.
Right.
So obviously they filmed that right after and then just fucking killed her. So because she screamed, Fireball finds her, sees what she saw. She says these are the winners. He's like, no, they're the losers.
Yeah.
And he gets ready to light her up, and Ben Richards comes down from the ceiling and grabs the fuel line from the flamethrower and yanks it off. So he saves her. They get into a little scuffle. He knocks Fireball back into a corner, grabs the flare that he took right before he took off running, throws it in there, and the fuel line's going everywhere, and that blows him up.
Yep.
A little bit.
And
much
then he said,
for an explosion.
Then he said, "What a hothead." I'm not going to let you down with these one-line puns. So they call Captain Freedom to the dressing room.
Yeah.
He gets pissed off. He goes to see the show host, and he's mad. Like you said, he doesn't want any of this gimmicky shit.
He just wants to go fucking kill people.
Yeah. And he is in possibly the worst of the costumes. Like,
he looks like a cheese grater.
He looks like a cheese grater. It's like this metal sheeting, but it's...
Cheese grater Johnny 5.
But it's extremely boxy. I don't know how he was expected to move in it. It was very weird. It wasn't as flashy as you would think Captain Freedom would look.
Do you think he was mad? No. Okay, I think he was a little bit mad about that stupid fucking outfit. But they got rid of that. But I think he was also mad because I think they let him in on the plan. They fake this whole final scene in the game for the viewers at home by digitally mapping Amber and Ben's face onto two other people. And he gets in the arena and he kills them.
Right.
I really think he's mad because he's like, I was killing people like this 10 years ago with my bare hands. So I think he's he's a little bit mad about that stupid ass suit, but he's a whole lot mad that he doesn't get to really fuck somebody. He doesn't get to really challenge a real
opponent,
like worthy opponent.
Right.
He doesn't get his chance at an honorable death.
Yeah.
Because Jesse the Body ain't no pussy.
But they definitely do some real questionable shit where they deep fake it, overlay his face on somebody else's body, and have I want to say fake fight, but Captain Freedom actually really kills the actor, so.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Ben Richards and Amber get trapped in this area and they think, okay, something's coming here. But it ends up being
the underground.
The Resistance. They're in an area where the cameras can't see or whatever. They're like, hey, come with us. And Ben's like, they could have fucking helped us out there.
Yeah, because they had all kinds of guns, but they couldn't or they would have been found out.
Yeah.
But there's a TV there, and they sit there and watch themselves be killed.
Yeah.
They're
Nobody
like, what
can see your air quotes.
Yeah. They're like, what the fuck?
So yeah, so they're seeing the deep fakes that these people are doing, and Amber's like, hey, they say something about getting the cameras, whatever. They're still trying to do that, and Amber's like, I have the uplink code,
right?
And they immediately have a plan right then and there, and
she has a better plan because she still has the raw footage of the Bakersfield incident, and he was like, where were you hiding that?
So Ben's kind of pissed off. He's sending all these young kids because when they get the satellite, they expect the people in the control room and
will cut it.
Their goons will cut it. They will come for wherever they're hiding out to take control of the satellite. So they're sending them with guns to make sure they don't do that. He's like, these kids can't do this. They need a leader. Mick's like,
thought you were looking for the door, buddy.
Yeah.
So he decides to stay and lead these kids into the studio.
And he is more of a, that picture, there's a difference between a leader and a boss. And there's a bunch of people holding up the chair. And, the boss sits in the chair, but the leader actually gets out and gets up front and pulls. Mm-hmm. Like, he's more of a leader type person.
So, all of these people with guns stormed the studio as...
Hold on. When Mick said that, he said, I did tell Killian I'd be back, and I wouldn't want to be a liar.
Right. So they stormed the studio as the Resistance starts to kind of override their show. And they're playing it in the studio as well, so all the audience can see. They show all of the dead winners. I just can't see my air quotes. The dead winners from last season, and they show the raw footage from Bakersfield. So everybody in the audience quickly comes around to that this is real. Like, I guess they kind of all already had suspicions. And at that time, Richard storms into the studio. And he's like, there's guards that are just shooting at him, but shooting through the audience.
Yeah, they don't care about the audience.
Meanwhile, he's like trying to like usher the audience out and get them to safety. So Amber has went off with a second group of people. She's in the studio as well, but she's in like a hallway. And Dynamo finds her. And he said something like, you were laughing in the game, but you're not laughing now. Why are you not laughing? What's not funny now? And she was like, nothing's funny about a dickless man with a battery shoved up his ass.
Yeah, and then Johnny Cage nut punches him.
Right, but he gets her down and he says, I'll show you, dickless. And when they pull back, he has his pants off.
I don't know if she pulled them off.
I don't think so. I think he was just full on trying to rape her in the hallway.
She reaches for her gun and accidentally shoots the sprinklers. Water comes down and his suit starts electrocuting.
Right.
So she kind of got lucky there.
A little bit, yeah. Because again, he's huge. She's very tiny.
Yeah.
She needed that gun to fight him off.
And then again, it cuts back to like the main studio and the fucking ICS guards are like shooting through the audience to get these people. And one by one, Ben's shooting all of those guys down.
It comes down to just him and the host. And the host is trying to explain it away. He's like, all this is just TV bullshit. It's not about the people, it's about the ratings. And I'm just trying to give the audience what they want.
But Killian sees the security guard Sven come through. And he's like, you want to have a chat with Mr. Richards here? And he calls back to the line like he told the security guard to get Captain Freedom out of there. He's like, what, the steroids make you slow or something? And he's like, must be the steroids. It just walks off.
But he brings out the chair. The security guard brings out the chair for him. So Richards puts the host in the chair and the roll cage, and he's going to shoot him down the pipe. The host says, drop dead, and Richards says, I don't do requests, and shoots him down the tube.
Yes.
Now, it is just like a black chair with like the cuffs on the arm, so you're locked in, and then a metal roll cage. It goes through the tube. It shoots out too hard. It goes through a billboard and hits a wall. And then there's nothing electric. There's no gasoline.
By Michael Bay.
There's no nothing. A metal object hits a wall, and the biggest explosion you've ever seen happens. Yeah. I don't understand how.
Michael Bay directed.
I guess. But then people start cheering Richard's name. Amber walks on stage. They make eye contact. They run to each other and kiss for some reason.
Well, they're...
shared trauma.
They've been brought together by their shared trauma, which apparently makes people want to fuck each other in these.
I guess.
Then you have the credits, and then at the end of the credits, there's the Running Man is brought to you by, and then all their ads for the show. Like, the security guards' guns are brought to you by this. The Cadre Cola. Mm-hmm. I guess couldn't talk Coke in the sponsor.
Well, they didn't want people to think that a can of Coke was going to be $6 in 2019.
Yeah. But secretly, they're like, you think they'll pay that shit for this?
Yeah. So, this was made for a budget of $27 million. And in the United States, at the box office, it made $38.1 million. So I'm sure worldwide it made significant.
They got their money back.
So Stephen King wrote the Running Man book under a pseudonym.
Ooh. I saw the book when I was pulling a movie up to watch, and I was like, maybe the book is better.
The book is completely different.
Completely different?
Yeah, like in the book, he is poor. A poor, underfed man chooses to join the Running Man game in order to win money to support his starving wife and child.
That's the reason.
But apparently the producer of this movie, Robert Cohen, had zero idea when he purchased the rights to it that the book was written by Stephen King. Like, he didn't recognize the pseudonym. Now, it says King is said to have found inspiration for the book from a disturbingly real Japanese game show called Trans-American Ultra Quiz from the early 80s, in which contestants were basically tortured, and the one who lasted the longest won.
They got reruns of this show?
I'm sure you can find anything online. I also don't exactly know what happened, but it went through 5 different directors before they were happy with one. I guess the previous 4 were taking it in a direction they didn't like, and they fired them. Alright, so you want to take a stab at the...
Tomatometer. I'm not spoiled on this, but I'm going to say...
The critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 63%.
I don't know. I would say the audience was better. 75?
60.
Wasn't it better?
Right. The critics' consensus says, The Running Man is winking sci-fi satire with ridiculous clothes and a workman-like direction. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
I don't think the clothes are all that ridiculous.
Oh, I missed my rips. You want to do those real quick?
Sure.
So, Dynamo, Erland Van Ludeth, died before the movie came out. It came out in November of 1987. He died September 23rd, 1987, at the age of 34.
Damn, what did he die of?
Heart failure. Professor Sub-Zero died in 2000 at the age of 70. He was Professor Toru Tanaka.
Is he a wrestler?
He was a martial arts... No, I did not say sumo. And, of course, Richard Dawson died in 2012.
Who was Richard Dawson?
The fucking game show host. Are you fucking shitting me right now? Like, the host of Family Feud, Richard Dawson?
I thought he looked familiar.
Jesus Christ. So now it's time for Ratchet Reviews. 1 star. They really thought fashion wasn't going to change at all in 30 years, huh? It is weird that they didn't give them an updated wardrobe. Like, right now on screen we have all these people running away, and they are dressed like it's the 80s.
They're not saying it didn't change.
Oh, they're saying it circled back around? Because the 90s are hitting real hard right now. I'm fitting to go get me a choker, bitch.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Look at my hair. What is this? What is this? It is a neon orange crushed velvet scrunchie from Claire's. 1 star. Cheesy one-liners and bad action is not my idea of a good Arnold film. That is my only idea of an Arnold film.
Pretty much.
Right? Like, that's come on. 5 stars. I was going to give this film 0.1 star for each amazing one-liner, but unfortunately, Letterboxd ratings only go to 5. And our Ratchet review comment of the week, 1.5 stars. The fog budget for this movie was higher than the budget for the pandemic relief stimulus bill.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It is
They were hard
very foggy.
Yeah.
Alright. What did you think of the movie?
What I thought was, what in the fucking Star Trek is this shit?
What?
Those suits.
Yeah.
And then the stalkers.
Now, had you seen this movie?
I had not.
Is this like a childhood favorite or anything?
It's always on those sci-fi lists of things you need to watch. I'd never seen it.
I also do not recall having seen it.
Yeah, never watched it, so I was pretty much unspoiled on it.
So what do you want to give it now?
I give it a 3.
Really? Why?
It was alright. 3 out of 5. Well, you give it. Struggling.
I am struggling. I would have given it substantially lower if Arnold didn't have his one-liners. That made the entire movie for me. I'm sure that's what destroyed the movie for a whole bunch of people, but that's my wheelhouse. I love it. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. I had to think about that 8.5. 2.5.
That's fair. It's decent. The special effects weren't as dated as I thought they would be.
A decent way into the movie, I was like, boy, this sure is a movie. Gonna give it that review again.
But it
got better.
There was no part of the movie that was slow.
They definitely got right into the game show part of this as quickly as they could. They were like, he did some good shit. We're going to say he did some bad shit. He's in jail. He escaped. He fucked up wrong apartment. Arrested. Game show. Like, bam.
But I think they saved themselves a lot of time because at the beginning it kind of explains, like, hey, this is 2017. This is the fucked upness that's going on. This is what's happening now. Boom. So you kind of get a little bit of the backstory, and I think a lot more movies would save themselves some time because in a lot of movies, if trying to explain all that, and then there's this tendency to want to keep movies at a certain length, which anymore doesn't really. I don't think it matters.
Right.
I mean, some people might not want to go to a 3.5 hour movie in the theater.
There was a lot of complaints, like when Avengers Endgame came out, so many complaints online about it. They're not even going to have an intermission. Like, I'm going to have to pee. Like, you're an adult. Like, you can hold it for 3 hours. Like, fucking pee before you go in and don't buy a big gulp. Like, what the fuck's your problem?
Or buy the big gulp and just fucking piss yourself like a professional.
Run It Back Podcast does not endorse pissing yourself in a movie theater.
A professional.
The opinions of Jason do not represent the opinions of the podcast as a whole.
No, just 50%. Get your ass some Depends.
Oh my god.
How about you fucking plan ahead, moron?
That astronaut put on an adult diaper and drove across the country to kill her boyfriend.
That bitch was prepared.
She wasn't even gonna stop.
I mean, she's gonna have to stop for gas. That is not an infinite thing.
I don't know, man. You got anything else?
I think that's it.
Alright.
You got anything?
I'm all good. Next week's Jurassic Park.
Uh-oh. What year was that?
It's in the 90s. 1993.
Alright, that's been Run It Back for the Running Man. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah. Visit our website, runitbackpodcast.com. It has links to all of our social media. You can listen to our podcast straight from there, or there's links to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And now, there is an accompanying blog along with each movie that tells you things we talked about, links, interesting things, fun facts you may have missed, or things we didn't talk about. Again, it is runitbackpodcast.com. If you liked us, please share us with your friends. And if you hated us, please share us with your enemies, and we all win.